The three leading Democrats in the House said in a joint statement late Thursday that they will vote no on an annual military policy bill that typically passes with overwhelming bipartisan support, citing Republican amendments restricting abortion access for service members and barring the Pentagon from covering gender-affirming care. Extreme MAGA Republicans have chosen to hijack the historically bipartisan National Defense Authorization Act to continue attacking reproductive freedom and jamming their right-wing ideology down the throats of the American people. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat New York, Democratic Whip Katherine Clark, Democrat Massachusetts, and Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar, Democrat California, said following hours of votes on mostly Republican-authored amendments. U.S. Representative Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat New York. 1 Democrat, Representative Henry Cuellar, Democrat Texas, voted with Republicans to attach an amendment to roll back the Pentagon's policy of reimbursing service members who travel to obtain abortion care. The amendment was sponsored by Representative Ronnie Jackson, Republican Texas, who previously served as former President Donald Trump's chief medical advisor. Cuellar also backed Representative Matt Rosendale's, Republican Montana, amendment to block the Department of Defense from covering gender-affirming care. House Republicans have turned what should be a meaningful investment in our men and women in uniform into an extreme and reckless legislative joyride, Jeffries, Clark, and Aguilar said Thursday. The bill undermines a woman's freedom to seek abortion care, targets the rights of LGBTQ+ service members, and bans books that should otherwise be available to military families. In opposing final passage of the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, the top Democrats are joining progressive lawmakers who usually vote no on the annual military policy bill due to its sky-high and ever-rising top line. The NDAA for the coming fiscal year would authorize $886 billion in total military spending, with $842 billion going to the Pentagon. I was the only person to vote no on committee out of 59 on the bloated defense bill, Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat California, tweeted Thursday, referring to the House Armed Services Committee's vote last month. After amendments attacking abortion rights and trans rights, looks like my Dem colleagues may join me. Sometimes, it's okay to stand alone on principle. Mounting Democratic opposition to the NDAA means Republicans will likely have to secure enough votes to pass the bill out of the House along party lines, a potentially difficult task given the intransigence of far-right members. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican Georgia, said Thursday that she intends to vote no after her amendment to strike $300 million in Ukraine aid from the NDAA failed to pass. Another amendment led by Greene, a proposal to ban the U.S. government from selling or transferring cluster munitions to Ukraine, also failed Thursday, though it did receive the support of 49 Democrats, including Representatives Ilhan Omar, Democrat Minnesota, Pramila Jayapal, Democrat Washington, and Jim McGovern, Democrat Massachusetts. The failure of Greene's cluster bombs amendment came after Republicans on the House Rules Committee blocked consideration of a broader proposal led by Representative Sarah Jacobs, Democrat California, and Omar that would have prohibited the U.S. from transferring cluster munitions worldwide. The Pentagon said Thursday that U.S. cluster munitions have arrived in Ukraine, days after President Joe Biden approved their transfer in the face of protests from human rights groups and members of his own party. Kevin McCarthy may be the mega ringmaster, but it is clear that the clowns have taken over the circus. A final House vote on the NDAA is expected Friday. The Senate still needs to pass its version of the bill, and the two chambers must reconcile the differences. Progressives voiced outrage over House Republicans' decision to turn the NDAA into another vehicle for their broader war on reproductive rights and LGBTQ people. They showed their complete disregard for our LGBTQ+ service members by adopting amendments that strip medically necessary care from transgender service members and their families, censor LGBTQ+ service members by prohibiting the display of pride flags, and ban books that include transgender people or discuss gender identity, said Representative Mark Pocan, Democrat Wisconsin, chair of the Congressional Equality Caucus. These riders cannot stand, and my colleagues and I will use every tool to get them removed during conference. Representative Barbara Lee, Democrat, California, noted on Twitter that Rules Committee Republicans prevented a House vote on her proposals to cut the Pentagon budget by $100 billion, rein in rampant price gouging by defense contractors, and repealed the 2002 authorization for use of military force in Iraq as they advanced their attacks on abortion access, gender-affirming care, diversity programs, climate action, and more. In scathing remarks on the House floor ahead of Thursday's votes, McGovern, the top Democrat on the House Rules Committee, blasted MAGA wingnuts, who threw a fit and hijacked the NDA to advance their far-right agenda. It's outrageous that a tiny minority of Republicans is getting to dictate exactly what amendments come to the floor, McGovern said. Kevin McCarthy may be the MAGA ringmaster, but it is clear that the clowns have taken over the circus.